Hello, I'm Miss Tonya, and I'm here with you for Wizards, Wands, and Wonder Week. And I want to talk about making a book and embossing metal and putting things in your book that are wizard, wand, and wondery. So let's get started. Miss Tonya. In your box, you have some papers, some cool papers, and this thing that's heavy. It might already be folded for you. And this is going to be the cover of your book. I think Phyllis already folded this for you. If she didn't, you need to fold this in half to make it the cover for your book. And then you need to fold all those other papers in half too. And I feel like I need to make sure everybody is on the same page as far as folding paper. If you've done origami, you know how important it is to get your corners lined up. Same thing if you're making a book. You know, craftsmanship, how we make things, that's an important idea when we're making art. We always do our best work and we try to get things to look nice when we're done. So let me show you how I fold paper to get it to line up well. I put my paper down and I line up my corners like this. And then I hold them there and bring my finger back and fold the paper. And then I run my thumbnail along the crease to get it nice and sharp so that it looks good. Do that again. I line up my corners, hold it down, and then do the other side. I think it's easier to do it on the table rather than folding it in the air. Once you get all your papers folded, I'm going to line them up here, put them all together with the cover on the back and all the foldy spots together, and you got a rubber band. All you do is put a rubber band around that middle, and that is your book binding. This is the easiest book I've ever made in my life. I can't believe I didn't think of it. It's great. And if you end up being one of those people that really loves making books, you can actually put more what we call signatures in there. You can take more pages. Let's say you have more paper at home and you want to put more in, you can put them next to, like, so here's my one bundle. This is called a signature. This is one bundle. You can put another bundle in there right next to it and then use another rubber band. And so then I have, rather than making it real fat with a bunch of paper all bundled up together, you can have different bundles. It'll make it lay better. And then your bindings will be on the outside. Okay, more on our book later. We are also doing embossing. So you got a star shape in your box and a piece of metal. So we are going to emboss this star shape onto this piece of metal. Embossing is the process of making something stick out. Let's see, to carve, mold, or stamp a design into something. That's embossing. So let me show you how to do this. So I want my gold to be on the outside. So I'm going to put my shape on the inside. I'm going to try to get it centered well. And then hold it really well. And then I'm going to rub with my finger or a tool to get that shape on there. Those of you that were with me in that week where we did printmaking with aluminum foil over cardboard, that was embossing. I don't know if I used that word then. So it's really important that I keep it held tight. There's a crease in there. You can use your fingernails to really push on things, or you can use a tool. I know that you have one of these in your box, so maybe you can use this. I'm going to use my fingers first, but if you want something harder, you could use something like this maybe. I don't know. I'm going to use my fingers. I think my fingernail, and I'm really holding down hard with my extra hand, my left hand, because I don't want it to move away. And because I'm stretching the metal over a shape, I am going to get these wrinkles, so I just kind of smudge them away with my fingernail. And I'm going to end up with this star shape. I'm going to make sure I go around it a couple times to make sure I get it just the way I want it. So there is my embossed star. Now, if you want, you can also, this is a mouse pad, but you could use a piece of cardboard. You could also take maybe a dull pencil, and you can put designs in it that way too. So let's say I wanted to, now I can't push too hard because I don't want to poke a hole in the metal, but I could put some designs. One of my favorite designs, which is a symbol, is the spiral. It's like the constantly getting bigger circle, because actually circles are my favorite shape and design. We're going to talk about symbols today next. So I'm embossing a spiral shape design on my star. Alright, so now when I flip it over, you can see that on that side too. Let's see here. Okay, so now with that, I can put that on the cover of my book. So if you have some Elmer's glue or something a little bit stronger, I would not use this kind of glue, but you could glue this down. And you can even cut it out if you wanted to, like cut out shapes. I'm not going to do that right now. We'll let you decide how to do that. The next thing I want to talk about is what to put in our book. So this is The Wizard's Wands and Wonder, and I've got several things I want to talk about. Let's talk about symbols. What could we put in your book that would be wondery? So what if you could put secret messages or secret messages? Would you have to use symbols? Let's talk about symbols. What is a symbol? A symbol is an image of something that represents something else. So symbols that everybody's used to using these days are emojis. So, we use the symbol of the heart to mean that we like something or love something. Or we'll use the symbol of the thumbs up to say, hey, that's a good job. Or, an emoji of somebody crying to say that that's sad. So we're used to these symbols. So I'm thinking that you could make your own symbol, and they would mean things that are personal to you in your book. Like, you could consider this a spell book. You could consider it a journal. So these are symbols that we find on typical keyboards. So you might get some ideas from keyboard symbols. There's some really interesting things there. And, symbols are used all over the world all the time. I found this online. It says Indian signs and symbols. Now, I don't know if I trust it, and I don't know what tribe it's talking about, but they are kind of cool. So this represents the sun, kind of obvious, and the rainbow, kind of obvious, but this represents 3 days. Like, I wouldn't have been able to guess that. So maybe you could figure out a way to write secret messages with symbols that you kind of borrow from other things or make up on your own. Ooh, do you know what this is? These are symbols. These are for Braille, the Braille alphabet, which is what blind people, these are embossed in surfaces so that blind people can read. And they would feel the bumps and they would know what letter it is, and then they could read words that way with their fingers. Now here's, for those of you that are into possibly having a secret message, this is really cool. These are runes. So runish symbols were originally of German origin, so they represented letters, and then the letters became like our language is rooted in the Latin. I forget how that goes, but if you wanted to make secret messages, you could use these symbols for letters to write messages, and you might put this in your book, and then you could write secret messages to one other person that knows the alphabet. So that would be fun. For those of you that are into Harry Potter, there's Harry Potter symbolism, and you might recognize this one from the Deathly Hallows. I didn't see that movie, but in this was used in that movie, and the triangle represents the invisibility cloak, the line represents the Elder Wand, and the circle, the resurrection stone. What's interesting to me is that it kind of reminds me of this symbol, which is a much older symbol, and it supposedly represents, this little circle is water, this is earth, this triangle is fire, and the big circle is air. And this is a reference to Pythagorean geometry mysticism, if you're into that. But still talking about Harry Potter, I found really fun things online when I was, so you could put this in your book if it's a spell book. This is wand motions for certain spells. So your wand would follow these actions, and then of course you would have to utter these words to go along with it. This similar thing, spells and charms, really fun stuff about Harry Potter. I found somebody had made some Harry Potter artwork. I thought all these things were really fun. Look, there's that thing we were just talking about right there. So if you're into Harry Potter, you could make this an art book based on the symbolism of Harry Potter. I found this one. This has spells in it too. And you can make up your own spells, of course. Now, in my book, I thought I would do my own little magic thing. And so what I did is, here, I forgot this. You've got an envelope in your box. I'm going to glue this envelope into the cover of my book because I want to have a space to put special things. I actually have some special things I want to put in there. And I'll show you my magical stuff. So here's my envelope. And then I was thinking it would be cool if the first picture that I drew for my book would be a picture of my spirit animal. Last year we did a class where we made clay spirit animals. Maybe you're one of my students last year. But this year, my spirit animal might be a butterfly because all these butterflies, these caterpillars, came to my garden, and then they turned into chrysalis, and then they become butterflies, and the process has been really interesting. So I drew a picture of a butterfly. That's my spirit animal. And I want that to be the first thing that I see when I open up my book. And you know, butterflies are symbolic for things because they undergo a transformation from the caterpillar to the butterfly, and they go through the chrysalis. They are symbolic of transformation and change. And then when you change, you take flight. Like, how exciting is that? I like the idea of that. So my first picture is butterfly. And then Miss Phyllis and I were talking, and we thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to have a spell or a recipe? You know, a spell or a potion. That's what I mean, a potion. And potions would have recipes, you know, like how do you make them? And so I thought I would make a potion, kind of, for delight. So mine is called Delight, a recipe. So I actually wrote a poem, and this is my recipe for delight. Ride a unicorn to the magic tree house, eat watermelon and talk to the dormouse. Follow the rainbow to the other side, where golden stardust and moonbeams hide. That sounds delightful to me. So, and then I put some moon phases and some stars. So that's going to be my second page of my book. And this book is so easy to deal with. I can just slide this into my binding. Actually, I'm doing this wrong. I'm going to do that in a minute. Oh, and then, here's something magical. When I was leaving Miss Phyllis, after we met about doing this class, I went outside to get into my car, and what did I find on the ground? But I found this. Can you see this? So this is a pinching bug right here. There it is. When I was a kid, these things were the scariest things in the world to me. I was terrified when I found them on the sidewalk. But now, I think they're just really, really cool. And so, whenever I see an animal or an insect that I don't normally see, I go online and I look up what is the symbolism of this thing, because I feel like it's auspicious that I have encountered a pinching bug. And so it's a beetle, and the beetle represents strength and industry and persistence and creativity and recycling. I love recycling. And community and resourcefulness and transformation, just like my butterfly. So I'll keep it. So I drew a picture of my pinching bug, and I think I'm going to put that, I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to glue that into the other side of my butterfly picture. So here's my butterfly picture. I think I'm going to glue that on the other side. And that's going to symbolize things. In this thing here, I'm going to put some magic cards that I have. So these are things, this is what I do in my real life. My yoga teacher a long time ago gave me these cards, and they're symbols. And so, for example, here is a picture of a sleeping kitty, and it says, slow down. And here's a picture of the sky, and it says, breathe. So the air, breathing it. Here, this one says, give thanks. So sometimes I'll just shuffle these up, and then I'll pull one out, and it'll tell me something to think about that day. So maybe love. I'm going to put these, wouldn't you know it, these fit exactly into my little book in my envelope. So I'm going to put those in there. And I can close all of this up with this little clip here that you got also in your box. Can I show you something else that I do in my life? Does anybody have a magic 8-ball? Whenever you have a question, like, is school going to be held in school this year? This is the answer. It says, looks like yes. Interesting. And if this thing doesn't give me an answer that I find satisfactory, I go to the book of answers. So, will school start out at school, but, possibly it could start at home and then end up at school. I should have been more specific. Will school start in the beginning of the school year with students being inside the classroom? Let's ask my question. The answer is, if you do as you're told. Well, that's certainly true. Okay. Looks like we're going to be in the classroom. Okay. I hope you have fun time with this project. I did. And I wish we could all be in the classroom, of course, but we can't. So I guess I'll see you on a Zoom.